What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's your boy Calypso, and here we are with another one, guys. This one is gonna be an interesting one. Why? Because I had to leave for an emergency, and I'm gonna be away for 5 days. So it's 5 days that I'm gonna be away from the tank, and I need to set it up. I need to set it up so the tank can take care of itself while I'm on vacation. So I've been through in this position before, exactly in this very spot. A couple years ago, I would say about 7-ish years ago, I went on vacation, and from that experience, let me tell you guys, it helped me a lot to prepare for this one. Back then, I had a 75 gallons, didn't know much about automation, ATO, and stuff like that, how they work, and what accidents can happen with it. So the setup I had, it was crazy. I don't suggest you guys do that. I wish I recorded all the stuff because it would have been a good video for you guys to learn what stuff the not to do. So it was a similar setup to this one. It was a 75, but the some part it was a similar setup to this one. So it was my first time owning an ATO. I didn't know much about it, and I was going for 7 days. So my thought process back then, I say I need enough water for it to last those 7 days that I'm gonna be away. So I had a 55 gallons. Here we go. I had a 55 gallons in the basement. So I said, you know what? What about if I drill a hole through the floor, run a pump or a hose from the basement all the way to the tank and to the sump. So that way, when the ATO go off, it's gonna be fed from the 55 gallons. So me not knowing better, that's exactly what I did. So I connected the pump, ran the hose all the way over here. So it was, like I said, a similar setup to this one, but instead having, like I got here, a 20-gallon long with a separate refugium. I did have the refugium, but instead of having the tank drill, I didn't know much about drilling tanks or nothing. What I had, it was the hang 'em back overflow YouTube. So what creates this the siphon from one tank to the other, that's what I got here. I think I have about three of them. So what started happening, and at least it did work for that time being. It did work for those 7 days, but the last very day, what happened was my tank overflow was draining into the refugium, and then from the refugium was going to the return and back into the tank. So what happened was the ATO was set up to the return part, and while the water was pumping in, it was creating micro bubbles. So those micro bubbles started going inside the YouTube, and once air goes in there, the siphon will stop working the way as efficient as supposed to work, and the water wasn't going fast enough to the return area. So this tank here started overflowing. So, but thank God that happened on the last day. That's when I received that phone call. Hey, it's water in the floor. So you guys, I guess, better hurry up. Tell that pilot to fly that plane as fast as he can and get here, because by the time you come, everything is gonna be a mess. But thank God, we came here on time. The YouTube was working just fine. Just wasn't, like I say, not draining water fast enough to the return area. And about 2 gallons, 3 gallons and a half. It was more to it, a worse part scenario once I came back, but that's not the subject right now. The subject right now, from that experience, I learned so much, so much, so much that now for this emergency trip, I got 5 tips that's gonna help you guys going on vacation for a week or on an emergency trip like I'm going right now. I did wrote them down. Let me see if I can find the notebook where I wrote them down. But I'm telling you guys, this 5 tips is gonna help you guys go on that trip and not be worried about your tank at all. So let's start with number one. The number one tip, and I think is the best tip of all of them, is getting to know a reefer around you. Thank God for social media. because that's how I met a lot of reefers that I know right now. And for my luck, one of those reefers live close to me, like 10, 15 minutes away. And I contacted him. I say, listen, I need help. This is an emergency. All I need you to do is come to the house at least on Wednesday. I'm leaving uh, Sunday and coming back on Friday. So I told him at least come back Wednesday. I'm gonna give you a key, come inside, check the tank, run a test, alkalinity and whatever, and just to make sure the tank is running okay. I'm confident that this system is gonna run itself with no problem, but it's certain little things that still we gotta do. It's automated in couple parts, but not completely. So we still gotta intervene and mess with it so it can run not perfect, but it can function the way it's supposed to. So I think that's the best tip I could give you as a number one is getting to know someone around you that know how to do this stuff. So thank God for me, I do have that person. So for number two, just make sure you do your maintenance, man. Make sure you do your maintenance before you leave. Clean everything, change your filter pads, um, clean your pumps, skimmer, all the stuff. Just make sure all your equipment is going to be working top notch. So that way you don't have problems. And the system, like I say, if you have the system like I have mine that is an autopilot, it's going to run for a week without you touching it with no problem. So please do your maintenance. I did a water change on the system already. I cleaned the pumps. I did everything I needed to do is change the filter pads, um, and it's working the way it's been working. So at least in that part, I'm a little relieved that that's gonna be no problem whatsoever while I'm out. For number three, then you gotta have somebody. I mean, I was gonna put auto feeders in all these tanks so to make sure the fish are fed, but a good friend of mine gave me a suggestion to not to do that. Thank God for doing the live stream today because that helped me a lot. So my plan of attack for that to make sure the fish are gonna get fed, I already have an auto feeder there, but I was gonna buy one for here and one for my quarantine tank. And he said, don't do that. You're only going for 5 days. What about if one malfunction? It's gonna dump a lot of food in the tank, and then your phosphate nitrates can go out of whack, and you can have bigger problem. So just for that, just before you leave, feed the fish heavy, feed them good. Then your boy's gonna come on Wednesday, so that half of the week that I'm gonna be out, have them feed the tank again heavy, and that way when you come back on Friday, you can feed them again heavy, and they're gonna be fed just fine. So thank you, Drama D, for that suggestion because I think that's the best suggestion for what I was thinking to do. So thank you so much. So that's what I got for number three. Make sure the fish are gonna get fed, and if you can do it like that because you're going a longer way, then have somebody available that can at least feed the tank. That's the other thing you guys can do. For number four, and it's also really important, is make sure everything is filled to the top. So make sure you're gonna have enough ATO water for evaporation. Like me, I'm dosing also. So what I did, I used to have a small container right there. So I set up a 5-gallon bucket. There's gonna be plenty enough for 5 days. That part, I cannot skip. I gotta do it like that because these corals are consuming alkalinity and calcium like crazy. So this is the best bet. I'm running cut water in that container. So that's gonna be set for a week. Another thing I did extra is not only I'm dosing cut water, but manually I also dose 10 to 15 mils a day because the cut water already is at its peak. I'm dosing 100 mils an hour, so it's keeping up with my ATO, it's keeping up, but it's not keeping up with my alkalinity consumption. So I do have to dose manually 10, 15 mils of alkalinity and calcium. So what I did is, this is a great idea. It's gonna be people in the house, so it's not like the tank is gonna be by itself, but at least I set up here 5 containers or 10 containers, 2 containing alkalinity and calcium for each day. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna call the siblings here, and we're gonna ask them to dose that every day at the same time. I mean, great idea. So that way I can take care of that part that I do separate from the doser. So that's like I say, make sure everything is filled up to the fullest, and you have the container big enough that's gonna last you for that week. So that way, when you come back, you don't have to deal with headaches, where your levels out of whack, and none of that. So that's for number 4. And number 5, that is one of the most important ones too, is have everything available for that person that is coming into your house to help you with your reef tank. And that's another thing that I did. I make sure that I got everything available. This is what I usually use for myself. So I got everything I dose to the tank right on top, all my testing equipment right there on the middle part, and then my fish food and coral food right on the bottom. That person don't have to worry about feeding the corals. As long as my nitrates and phosphate are okay, corals are getting fed for me. That's how I see it. But at least he gonna come test alkalinity, phosphates maybe, and if he need to dose a little extra or something, then all the dosing solutions are there. And I think those are the best 5 tips you can do for you to set up your vacation trip and not have no problem with your tank. Now, all the things that you got to do, and it's like a common sense thing, is have ATO water available just in case when you come back you need to do anything. What I did this time, in case I needed to come and do a water change or whatever, what I did, I bought some water already made. So that way, when I come back, if I see anything out of whack, then I do a quick water change and everything be good. I mean, I've been doing a 10-gallon water change every 2 weeks. I usually do it 5 gallons every week, but I change for 10 gallons every 2 weeks. So I did one today, then I will do one when I come back on Friday. No exception. I'm gonna do it because that'll be my 10 gallons a week. So, but in case an emergency, always have the ATO water available, salt available. So in case an emergency, you have those stuff available. And I think that's pretty much it, man. I think, like I'm telling you guys, the experience I had before with this one, like I say, I'm so confident right now that this trip is gonna go so smooth, and I don't have to worry about, because that's the last thing. The trip that I'm taking is not a vacation trip, it's an emergency trip. So the last thing I want to have in my head is the reef tank. So at least I think I take care of those parts where I'm gonna have help with the tank, and I'm not gonna have to worry. So I hope you guys like those 5 tips, man. Let me know if you guys think of anything else, because I can think about anything else right now. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the like button, and I see you guys in the next one. Hasta la próxima. Your boy Calizos out. See you guys.